Today's question is about how to view a healthy relationship. A lot of people ask me, brother, I just want to know, am I in a toxic relationship? Is my relationship unhealthy? Is my relationship toxic? Is my relationship abusive? Usually the red flags are there. Usually all the signs are there, but they doubt themselves. Their friends and their family members are telling them, that they are in a abusive relationship, but they don't want to believe that. They may think that these people, the family and the friends, are maybe just jealous of them, or they want bad for them, which may be the case in sometimes. But if it's one or two people that are saying it, then maybe that doesn't carry so much weight. But when the vast majority or a lot of people are saying it, then you need to look into it. It may mean something. If a lot of people are telling you, hey, your relationship is abusive. This is abuse. This is not on. This is wrong, and this is violence, or this is emotional or psychological abuse. Then maybe you need to start looking into that if a lot of people are telling you that. But the question is, how do we view relationships? So we also hear the question or the statement. I got married, and then they changed. What happened? What happened? The reality is you either didn't see these signs because the partner was good at hiding them, or you didn't do your homework enough, or you were in the honeymoon phase where you were just your decision making abilities was clouded and distorted due to feeling good, the happy hormones, the fantasies that you were having. So that blinded you from seeing the red flags, or from seeing the signs. And then after marriage, your eyesight is clearer, and you start to think, what the hell did I get myself into? So the question again, how do I view, or how should we view relationships? What is a healthy relationship? How should we enter a relationship that's healthy? And when do we know that it is not healthy? This is the question. So we need to understand that the only thing, we need to enter relationships, that the only thing that we have full, ultimate, and absolute control over is our own self. Is our own selves. That's what we have control over. Unfortunately, today, another incorrect thinking is they see the bad signs, they see the deal breakers. For example, a brother, to him, he wants a wife with hijab, and that is a deal breaker for him. It's an important matter, for him. Yet he meets a woman, he meets a girl who's not wearing hijab, but he pursues her. So he's seen the red flag, or not in the red flag, the deal breaker's there. It's looking at him in the face, in the eye. Yet he has this healing fantasy, or that he can change her. That once I show her my charms and my muscles and my abilities and my hecticness, she may change. I mean, I'm irresistible. Who can resist this beautiful face? You know what I mean? This is how they think. And then they believe that through my good treatment, I will change her. They don't say this, but this is what they think and what they believe. So we're entering relationships with deal breakers slapping us in the face with the healing fantasy or the belief that we will change them. And another example with the sisters, they may see a brother, they may meet him, he may look good and so on and so forth, tick some boxes. However, they know that he is lazy. They know that he is, in the last 20 years, he hasn't kept one job for more than, a couple of days or whatever. He hasn't sustained the job. They know that he doesn't know how to plan well. He doesn't know how to manage and plan well. He's all over the place. He gets fixated on on certain things. He becomes extreme in fishing. He goes and spends thousands of dollars on fishing gear. Next week, it turns into jet skis. He goes and buys every single jet ski. Then he gets bored of that. Then he goes and buys boats, and then finishes boats, and then he goes into cars, and then from cars into motorcycles, and he becomes fixated. And you can see this. But the woman thinks, tabarakallah, how can he resist my beautiful body and my beautiful charms? I will change him. I will enter this relationship and I will change him. This is where we're going wrong. So we need to understand what are our deal breakers. So when people ask me, how do I know I'm in a toxic relationship? How do I know I'm in an abusive relationship? It's good to know the signs. It's good to educate yourself. But reverse the question and put it onto you. What is your boundaries? What are your deal breakers? When is it, that point where you're willing to walk away? There needs to be that. You need to have that in your mind. That if this happens, I am walking away. I know it's hard and it's easier said than done. But if you don't have boundaries and you don't know yourself, you don't know your limits, you don't know your values, you don't know what your deal breakers are, then people can create those deal breakers for you. You might, your partner might cheat, your partner might beat you up, and they might say, because you have no boundaries, well, everyone does this. And you'd be like, day in, day out, you might hear this and you might start to believe that this is a form of also gaslighting. So you might start to believe it. And what's the problem here is that you didn't have boundaries. So to answer this question, you need to have boundaries. You need to set those boundaries. You need to know what they are, identify them, label them, define them, and you need to know what your deal breakers are. And then you need to also know what other issues that you will compromise on. They're issues, they're problems for you, but you can still compromise. You won't walk away from them. But there has to be some in a category where you will walk away, for example. And then you need to, most importantly, after knowing them, identifying them, you need to implement them. When you have this character, and your partner sees that you have these boundaries, there's less chance that you will be manipulated, abused. I'm not guaranteeing this, obviously, but when someone sees someone very weak, then they're easy to take advantage of. If someone is a manipulator, a perpetrator of abuse, they can take advantage of that. But when they see you with morals and ethics and boundaries and deal breakers, and you hold you carry yourself with respect and honor, there's less chance that you will be walked all over and manipulated. And at the base of, you can say, abuse, the foundation of abuse is two things: power and control. The individual feels the need to have absolute power and be, absolutely in charge of the other. This could be male or female. So they use this power and control. They use other forms of domestic violence, whether it's physical abuse or financial abuse or gaslighting, emotional abuse, put downs, isolation. All of these, the foundation of all of these is to gain power and control over you, to purposely devalue you, okay? Seeking to make you feel worthless so that you may be subjugated, ultimately and totally to their will. This is at the base of every abusive relationship. So now I'm going to share with you how to enter a relationship the healthy way, how to view relationships. I'm just going to share something on the screen here. So, how to view a healthy relationship. with healthy relationships, or with unhealthy relationships, with toxic relationships, the common feature that we see is that one person, one partner, sees their partner, sees the other partner as they as they own them, as they completely own them, they have ownership over them, as that they belong to them, and that they need to have full control over the way they think, over the way they feel, over the way they behave, over every single step that they do, you know, how they walk, how they talk, how they spend every single cent, what they buy from the shops. I'm talking everything, and this is not exaggerated. Wallahi, we see, and I have seen myself, you know, some husbands that are abusive, that are perpetrators of abuse, where they control every single cent to the extent that he controls when he buys her sanitary pads, her tampons, you know, her underwear, and her basic necessities. He controls that, and if it runs out, he questions that. Why did it run out early? Why aren't you leaving them on for longer? You know, power and control, and also, you know, being miserly, and the list goes on and on. But however, when in abusive relationships, people view their partner as something that they own, something that they control, and something that they can do anything with. So the healthy way to view a relationship is what I call the I am me and you are you approach. The I am me and the you are you approach. What does this mean? This means that there's two individuals. So let's just say you want to get married, you're about to get married, and you meet another person. You need to understand that you're entering this relationship. You need to do your homework. Whatever you accept at that time, then that's your standard. Okay, you can't enter and then hope to change, as I said before. And you need to understand that you are you and they, you know, they are them. You don't own them. You can't control the way they think and feel and behave. What you can do is influence them. You can influence them in a positive way without manipulation and coercion. Okay, so in healthy relationships, we have control over one thing, and that is ourselves. We cannot control our partner. Now, I know some people might be, you know, up in arms right now saying, what do you mean you can't control your partner? You know, we have to control them. We have to force them to pray. We have to force them to wear hijab. We have to force them to do this, and we have to force them to do that. The answer is no. That's not the correct way. And let me explain. So changing our own behavior can sometimes have influence, potentially impacting the relationship paddock or dynamic. Okay. So for example, let's just say you're married and your wife is yelling and screaming and having a go. Then they're upset and they're angry. And here you cannot make them stop yelling without you yelling and without you now becoming, you know, a bit abusive and a bit forceful, you know, shut up, keep your mouth shut, you always yell, you always shout, you know, you're whatever, you know, X, Y, and Z. This doesn't help it. This puts fuel on the fire, and you have to use criticism and contempt to turn that out, you know. So the way you can control this is by saying, when you yell, I need to take a break. I can control myself here, you see. You can control yourself. You can control your behaviors. And this, in turn, may influence and impact the relationship pattern and dynamic. You know, maybe not immediately, but in a healthy relationship where husband and wife view each other as I am me and you are you, then this is an approach that will eventually have influence. So here you let them know what that you need to take a time out when they yell. This becomes a thing. This becomes like a ritual. This becomes like a rule in your relationship, you know. And many other examples, you know, for example, if you know, whenever you are feeling angry, or you want to say something hurtful, that you let your partner know that when I feel like this, I'm going to take a 20-minute break. I'm going to go to the backyard and just take a breather, and I'll come back and resume the conversation with you, for example. That you can control, but you cannot control totally. You cannot control your partner completely. So you can say, when I feel anxious, when I feel flooded, when I feel scared, I'm just going to take that break. And by doing this, you influence the course of interaction. So regarding relationship issues, focusing on ourselves is often more empowering and therapeutic. Trying to change someone else often feels defeating and impossible. You ask anyone, and I mean, I see a lot of clients, right? You ask those in abusive relationships, even the abuser himself or herself, and you ask them, are you happy with your life? Are you really happy with the way things are going? Okay, you got your way in the harsh, forceful way. Are you really happy? Deep down, they're not happy. It's defeating. You can't change people, even by force. We know the principle in our religion, la ikraha fi din, because if you force people to change, as soon as you turn your back and that fear is gone, they go back to their old ways. Do you build a community like this? Do you build a nation like this? You don't. You build hypocrites like this. This is the reality. This is why the hypocrites arose, more when Islam was in power, because out of that they were scared, and then they lied about their Islam, for example. So nothing forceful would remain sort of fruitful. Okay, there'll always be some negative consequences with that. Here is a nice diagram I like to show my clients. This shows what you can control and what you can't control. Okay, this is how you need to approach your relationships. You need to look at yourself here. This is you. This is what you can control. Okay, this area here. And this is your partner here. These are two different human beings, two separate individuals with two separate upbringings, two separate core beliefs, maybe two separate values. Maybe some things align, but not everything. Two separate dreams, two separate psychologies, two separate brains. Two separate people who will also be. Side note: who will also be buried separately, resurrected separately. The angels that are writing their actions and their deeds on each individual's shoulder is separate, right? No one carries the burden of anyone else. We know this principle. So we're two separate people. And then when you come together, okay, this is the third space. So this is what you cannot control. This is what you can control. And this is what you can influence. This is where you can have an impact on the other, right? So in this section here, this is the third space here. This is where you express your needs. This is where you tell them how you feel. This is where you tell them your deal breakers. This is where you tell them your boundaries. And this is where you apply all of that. See, Islam laid down the foundation. It laid down the framework for how relationships and families should work in the best possible way. So Islam has that foundation. It spoke about roles, it spoke about responsibilities, it spoke about rights, it spoke about hierarchy, it spoke about all of these different things. And then it also left a big chunk and a big amount of it to what we call urf, which is the customs of the people of that time that doesn't go against the primary texts. The way you get married, for example, whether you wear a white dress or a red dress or a pink dress, or whether you wear a crown on your wedding day, or whether you dress in a certain way, as long as it doesn't go against Islam and the Sharia in Usul al-Fiqh and in Qawa'id al-Fiqh considered urf, which is these customs and these traditions of the people as a source of law. Okay, so in this middle section here, this is where you try to make it work and you try to influence each other. Okay. Like I said, you mentioned your beliefs, your views and your beliefs, and this is where you share that. This is where you try to make it work and where you express yourself. For example, this section here, right? That's the part you accepted before you got married. Tough luck. If they're not wearing hijab, then you can't. I mean, you can influence, but you can't force. You see, if this guy's smoking dope and you accepted that, then tough luck. You know what I'm saying? That's where, I mean, you can still walk away. You can still walk away. That's a different topic. But this is where you set your standards. So here are some, what we call the third space prompts, questions that you can ask in this third space. Question number one, what is the ritual you most enjoy in this third space? See, now you're trying to make it work. What is the ritual that you most enjoy in this third space? And couples should have rituals of connection. They need to have rituals of connection. What can we do here? What can we do here as a couple, as a ritual to connect to each other? Whether it be taking a morning walk once a week, whether it be going on a date night once a week, whether it be that every morning we pray together, whether it be we learn how to read Quran, or we study this, or we do that. This is a ritual that couples should have. And here is a question: what is the ritual you most enjoy in this third space that we can do together? The next question is, what is something that would enhance our third space for you? So you want to enhance your relationships. You don't want to be in a miserable relationship. So a good question to ask is, what is something that would enhance our third space for you? Would enhance our relationship? Okay, this is opposite of power and control. The next question is, what is hard, what is stressful, what is painful for you in our relationship, in this third space? And here they have the opportunity to express, because relationships aren't a walk in the park. It's a commitment, and some commitments are hard, some commitments are stressful. Having a family, children is painful sometimes, and they need to be able to express that, and you need to be able to allow them to express that, without giving advice, just letting them speak. The next question you can ask is, what is the funniest inside joke that we have in our third space? This refers to that this third space, this relationship that we have, shouldn't just be all serious, like a dictator, like Adolf Hitler, Saddam Hussein type of a relationship where you don't smile, everything is serious, you don't joke, you don't laugh, everyone's scared of you. The moment you walk in the door, everyone's like, sitting silently. You want everyone to be at your attention. So this is not how relationships last. And if you're like this, I can guarantee you, your wife and your children, or if it's the other way around, your husband and your children, don't want to be around you. They don't like when you come home. Okay, take it from me, who hears this thousands of times. They hear the car, everyone panics. Everyone starts walking on eggshells. Anxiety kicks in. They're going from being who they are, freely, laughing, relaxing, and then the car comes. Oh, crap. And then everyone's just quiet and angry and scared to say something that it may provoke, the unpredictable person that they fear. Very unpredictable. So it's important to joke. It's important to laugh with your spouse and have fun. The Prophet ﷺ did say, the best morsel, the best food that you can feed anyone is the food that you put in your wife's mouth. That's the best sadaqah. That's the best food that you can do. And he said the best sadaqah is the one that you spend on your wife. And he said wasting time, to the meaning, wasting time, spending time with your wife, wasting time is actually an act of worship. It's not considered futile or a waste of time. In reality, it's not a waste of time. It's actually good to spend time with your spouse. So on that note, make sure your relationships are a fun place to be in. The next question that you can ask the prompt about this third space is, what has been most safe and grounding in our third space? Do you feel safe here? Do you feel that there's mawadda in this third space? Do you feel that there's sakina in this third space? Affection and tranquility and mercy in this third space? Is there commitment? Do you feel that I am committed? Do you feel that there's trust in this third space? Do you feel safe in this third space? You need to feel safe in your relationship in order for you to grow. You don't plant a tree and scream at it so you can grow. You need to take care of it. You need to put soil and re-soil and water and take care of it, and make sure it gets enough sunlight. All those comparisons that you hear all the time. This is how relationships are, and this is what Allah Azza wa Jalla even said: "Nisa'ukum harthul lakum." that your wives say to the men, you know, you need to treat them like you would treat a guardian. All right, you need to treat them well in order for them to grow. Lastly, in this third space, you need to express your needs, and this is where you can influence them. So here's some examples where you can say, you know, I need us to spend more quality time together. Once again, you're not controlling the other person, you're expressing your needs, and that's what you have control over. Okay. Another example of expressing your needs is I need to have more balance with our household responsibilities. For example, maybe they feel overworked, maybe they're working full time, coming home and cleaning the house, and the wife might need help with that. You know, this is what she can control. She can control expressing her needs, or the man, the husband, can also mention that he needs to balance finances, or you know, or what have you. Another example of a question is, I need some time alone. You know, I feel that we've been spending so much time together, maybe COVID and, you know, no work, people in isolation. They need some time alone. You need to express that need. I need to hear that you appreciate me more. This is what you can control. Another one is, I need your support when I set limits with the kids. So just an example, nothing worse than two parents going against each other, and the kids can see that. You know, when the kid sees husband and wife are not a team, then the children themselves can use that to their advantage and get what they want, and, you know, manipulate mum and manipulate dad. So expressing your needs in that situation would sound like this: I need your support when I set limits with the kids. Instead of, you don't support me, you're a dumb dad, you're a dumb mum, you know, you're a bad father, you're a bad mother, whatever, and what have you. That doesn't change anything. You're trying to control them, you're trying to change them, but that does not work. What works is expressing what you can control, expressing your needs. I need us to have more fun together. I need you to ask me about my day more often. Maybe I feel a little bit lonely. You're too busy about yourself. You're too busy with your work. I need you to ask about my day. I've got a lot to talk about. And lastly, I need you to initiate a date night. So what all of these have in common is this: what you can influence here, okay, and what you have control of. So I hope this helps. Enter relationships understanding that you can't control the other person totally, and understand that when you see the red flags, when you see the deal breakers, don't think that you can change them. Okay, if you've accepted them before, then it's sort of like saying tough luck, you know. And don't use force and power and control to get your way. It doesn't last. And influence your partner in a positive way by expressing your needs, expressing your feelings, expressing what's important to you, what you would like, what you dislike, and lead by example, and hopefully they would follow and learn from that. And lastly, don't enter relationships when the deal breakers are slapping you in the face. Okay? You don't have deal breakers, create some now. One thing you can learn from this talk is create some deal breakers. Know what your deal breakers are, know what your boundaries are, and be ready to implement them. Thank you for listening. I'll see you guys next time. So now I want to show you the unhealthy way to view relationships, the toxic way to view relationships. Let me share the screen with you guys. Okay, let's just say this is your spouse and this is you. Okay, this is you here. You want to overtake, you want to control, you want to manipulate, you know, you want to gaslight, you know, you want to take over them completely. You want to control their mind. You want full power over everything, and you just cause havoc and chaos and mischief on the earth. And this is how you view relationships. Okay, this is the chaotic way, where you just want to overtake, control, have power over, manipulate, trick, gaslight, psychological abuse, just to get your way, so that you can have them subjugated to your will.